Alright, this is an update on my tensioner system. I have three big changes since last time. One, it's in the back. Two, it's in three parts. And now you no longer have to cut through the extrusion for the tensioner. So, like I said, now it's in the back versus the front. When I was thinking about it, what I wanted to do with possibly having a quad motor system, it really wouldn't work if I had the tensioner in the front because then I wouldn't be able to have the pulleys in the way that I wanted to with the amount of space I wanted. So by having it in the back and I have a tension in the back, I could essentially just put another motor where this dowel pin is, and then I could have another pulley or something slightly in front of it running a belt. So this just allows me to have more space, and especially because with the old one, I didn't give myself enough room to put a motor underneath this, so it really wouldn't fit. Um, then it's no longer drilling through extrusion. So previously on the old one, there would have been a piece of 2020 aluminum extrusion right here, and this tensioner rod, this screw would have had to drill through it. And I was thinking about that, and I feel like drilling through the extrusion, one, if I did it wrong, I'd kind of mess it up and I wouldn't be able to fix it. And two, it's just a little more complicated. I would have had to print out a drill guide and all that. So this just relies on a piece of plastic. It's going to be 3 millimeters long, and it's going to attach the front, or sorry, to the top and the side of the frame, and then it'll have the same screw or knurling knob right here to tighten it. So as you can see through that hole, it moves front and back, and that'll just be through this being tightened. The other big thing is it is now in three parts. So obviously we have the motor, we have the motor attachment. So this will have four screws. It'll go onto the motor right here. And then as these two locking screws up here, those locking screws will go onto this piece. This is attached to the aluminum extrusion on the front and the side, and it allows it to slide in this slot. And then once you have the proper tensioning in the proper position, you can lock it down with these two screws right here. They're just going into a heat insert that I have, and then I have the extruder clamp on the back. I just explained that. And so basically, I think this is a lot simpler than this in the way you attach it, but it still has kind of the same concept of having a knob on the back, tightening it, and then once you have the proper tension, locking it down with two setting screws on top. So all I have to do for this is just mirror it for this side. There's nothing really to it. I think the only thing that I'm going to have trouble with is if this isn't perfectly aligned right here. Could cause some friction, but that shouldn't really be a problem. But yeah, I think the assembly is working pretty well. The other thing I went ahead and designed was the front mount. I'm just going to have two pulleys right here, um, separated by some washers in the middle. It really shouldn't be too hard. One thing I did have when designing this was, since I'm going to probably recycle an Ender 5 frame, originally I had a screw here and here holding it on, but since the Ender 5 frame has a 20 by 40 extrusion coming up the bottom, I wouldn't have been able to do that right here, and then there would have been a screw holding in the top extrusion here. So I just made a 20 by 40 gap, and if I end up using a different frame, it'll still work. I think for this, the front adapter, it's pretty simple. It's just one piece. It's going to slide on. I think for the print orientation, I might have to print it on its side, or make it two pieces, because if I print it like this, then the layer lines will be going horizontally with the pressure, and it could snap. It could break here with the tension from the belts, or here with the tension from the screws. So I think I'll either have to make it two parts and split it down the middle, or print it on its side like that. But that shouldn't be too hard to change. Um, the next thing that I have to design is the X gantry. So what I think I'm going to do is, for the X gantry, what I think I'm going to do is have the rail go along the top right here, and then I'm going to have the slider here is going to attach like this, and the extrusion will be here. And what that'll let me do is run my belts behind this, and then have the other belt run like this. So I'll be able to have both the, sorry, hmm, why is this different? What I'm going to do is have the rail run along this back portion right here, and then have the extrusion attached just like, why is it doing that? I'm going to have the rail run back here, and then I'm going to have the extrusion attached like this. Come out here. What that'll allow me to do is run the belts from the motor to here and out, and then have the other belt coming here and here. So I'll have to have the two pulleys right here and right here attached to this. So I know that's kind of rough, but that's how I'm going to run the gantry. So really what's important is the rail's going to be on top, and it's going to have, I believe this is 18 millimeters of spacing right here. So we'll say 20 millimeters of spacing from this in the frame. That's the next thing I'm going to design. That shouldn't take too long. The print head is pretty much done. So once I get that, hopefully I'll be able to print this out and design the electronics carriage.